So over the past couple of days, Bitcoin broke back below the support that we had identified. A lot of us were hoping that it would at least test up to 32K as the next, which was the next resistance. However, it decided not to do that. It broke below support, and currently it's sitting kind of at 27.7K with the next support coming in around 26.4K. If it breaks below 26.4K, I think it's very likely that I'll end up retesting this inverse head and shoulders pattern that we had been forming since last June. It would actually be a really bullish sign if we back tested this and then bounced off of it. That would be a pretty bullish signal to retest the breakout, because we never retested it. We just kept going straight up. We didn't retest it right here. We went up to 30K. If we could somehow manage to get back above this range right here, then I think this ends up being just a fake out to the downside. But I would actually treat it right now that it's more likely this was a fake out to the upside, and we're more likely, I'd say, heading down to 25.3K. I'm going to show you the 3-day super trend. On the 3-day super trend, it currently stands, the floor stands at 25.3K as well. We're going to be getting a bear cross potentially on the 3-day MACD right here. We have one back here, back here. This was the only fake out really. We didn't really get much lower prices. Going back here earlier in the year or earlier last year, we had this cross right here. We had a cross right here at the top. It led to all this downside. This one led to all this downside. So that could be happening tomorrow. I'll keep you guys updated. This is the 12-hour RSI. This is what I'm going to be using right now to potentially identify any potential turnaround. If you were following me about 3 weeks ago or so, when this broke out right here, I called it. It ended up rallying up past 30K. It was right before we got that, rally up to 30K. I had posted about it, and you look back here, it broke out right here, led to the rally, broke out right here, led to this rally. So we'll be watching this. We'll see what happens. I think a lot of this ultimately is going to come down to what happens with the DXY, the US dollar, and the NASDAQ. Let me show you the US dollar chart first. The US dollar is currently sitting on support, and we'll see if this holds or not. It basically has been sitting there for the past, I would say, 3 weeks now. 1, 2, 3. This is going to be the 4th week now. We've just been sitting on support with really no significant rally. And inversely, the NASDAQ has been doing the opposite. The NASDAQ has been sitting against resistance with no sort of like actual rejection yet. And usually the more you test something, the more likely it is to break. So we'll see what happens. We've just been waiting. This has been going on for the past month, where every week it's just been retesting, and we haven't had any decision. And I think partially that's why Bitcoin hadn't broke out further. I think if the NASDAQ had broken out here, I think Bitcoin would have continued up, but I think Bitcoin kind of got ahead of itself, and I kind of, thought maybe Bitcoin was leading the way. Maybe it still is, but it was unable to continue up because the NASDAQ didn't break up, the DXY didn't break down, and Bitcoin ended up getting pulled back down, and now it's below support. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of days. I would still just look more toward a retest of this 25.3K area. If we do get back above 30K or 29.7K, this wick right here, then I think this was a fake breakdown. This was actually on lower volume. There wasn't much volume on this breakdown compared to other breakdowns like this one, the FTX one. It wasn't as much, but it actually was more volume than we saw on the way up. So that's really about it. So we'll just see what happens.